Imagine I sell you a pen for $1. Then I convince 10 people that this pen will soon be worth $10. Those 10 people rush to buy it. The price rises. More people notice. Now everyone wants the pen. Then, while everybody is celebrating, I quietly sell every pen I own at the inflated price. I walk away rich. The price collapses, and everyone else is left holding something they paid far too much for. That simple idea explains one of the most infamous stock manipulation stories in modern American finance. But the most disturbing part of the story isn't the amount of money involved. It's how ordinary people were persuaded to participate. Because Jordan Belfort didn't discover a secret formula for finding great companies. He understood something much more powerful: human psychology. And once you understand how the system worked, you'll realize that the biggest danger in investing isn't always picking the wrong stock. Sometimes it's trusting the wrong person. Before the books, the speeches, and the Hollywood version of his life, Belfort was a salesman. And that detail matters, because the foundation of his success wasn't financial genius. It was persuasion. A good salesperson understands a simple truth. People rarely buy only because of facts. They buy because of emotion. They buy because they're afraid of missing out. They buy because they want a better future. They buy because someone sounds confident. And when money is involved, those emotions become even stronger. Think about two investment pitches. The first person says, "This company is risky. It may succeed, but it may fail. You should research its finances, understand the risks, and only invest money you can afford to lose." Not very exciting. The second person says, "I've found something Wall Street hasn't noticed yet. This company is about to explode. A few smart investors are getting in early, and this opportunity may disappear by Friday." Same person listening. Completely different emotional reaction. The first pitch activates caution. The second activates greed, urgency, exclusivity, and fear. And that difference was worth millions. Belfort entered the brokerage business during an era when money, ambition, and aggressive selling dominated parts of Wall Street culture. After the 1987 market crash disrupted his early brokerage career, he eventually moved into the world of penny stocks. And penny stocks were perfect for aggressive salespeople. Here's why. Imagine a normal broker helps a customer buy shares in a large, widely traded company. The broker earns a relatively small commission. Now imagine another broker sells a cheap, obscure stock and receives a much larger percentage of the transaction. Which one is the aggressive salesperson going to push? Exactly. The one that pays him more. Notice the problem. The customer believes the broker is recommending the best investment. But the broker may be recommending the investment that pays the broker the most. That conflict of interest was gasoline. Belfort supplied the match. Stratton Oakmont became notorious for fraudulent sales practices, baseless price predictions, misrepresentations, unauthorized trading, and market manipulation. Regulators ultimately expelled the firm from the securities industry in 1996. But here's where the story becomes more interesting. You cannot build a massive sales machine with one talented salesman. You need hundreds of them. So the real breakthrough wasn't simply selling stocks. It was building a system that could turn inexperienced recruits into aggressive closers. Picture a room filled with desks, phones ringing everywhere, people shouting, a manager walking between rows of brokers. Nobody is calmly reading balance sheets. Nobody is spending 3 weeks studying whether a company has a sustainable competitive advantage. The objective is simple. Get the customer on the phone. Create excitement. Destroy hesitation. Close the sale. Then repeat. The brokers weren't selling ownership in businesses. Psychologically, they were selling a future. A new house. Early retirement. College tuition. Freedom from debt. The customer might think he was buying 5,000 shares. But emotionally, he was buying a dream. And dreams are much easier to overprice than stocks. Here's a simplified example. A broker calls a man named David. David has spent 20 years saving $40,000. He isn't rich. He has a mortgage. His daughter will soon attend university. He wants his money to grow faster. The broker doesn't begin by saying, "David, I would like you to purchase a highly speculative security." Of course not. He says, "David, I don't normally call people personally about opportunities like this." Now David feels special. Then, some of our biggest clients are taking positions. Now there's social proof. Then, the stock is still under the radar. Now there's exclusivity. Then, I can't guarantee how long this price will last. Now there's urgency. And finally, I'd hate for you to call me 6 months from now asking why I didn't tell you. Now there's fear of regret. Did you notice what happened? Almost nothing was said about the actual business. The entire conversation was about emotion. That is lesson number 1. When an investment pitch spends more time attacking your emotions than explaining the investment, become extremely careful. But selling overpriced shares was only part of the machine. The more dangerous strategy was manipulation. Here's a simple way to understand a pump and dump scheme. Imagine there are 100,000 shares of a tiny company. A group connected to the promotion controls a large number of those shares at a low cost. Then the selling begins. Hundreds of calls. Exciting claims. Aggressive predictions. More buyers enter. Demand rises. The price climbs from $1 to $2. Then 4. Then 7. People watching the price think, something big must be happening. They don't realize that the excitement itself is helping create the price movement. More buyers rush in. The stock reaches $10. Now the insiders sell. Suddenly, the artificial demand disappears. The price falls. $10 becomes 6. 6 becomes 3. 3 becomes 50 cents. The promoter made money on the way up. The late investor absorbs the collapse. That's the trap. The rising price becomes part of the advertisement. People think, the price is rising because the company is valuable. But sometimes the price is rising because people are being convinced that other people will keep buying. That distinction can destroy a portfolio. And this is where greed becomes dangerous. Greed doesn't always look like a man screaming, I want to be rich. Sometimes greed sounds perfectly reasonable. I just want a better retirement. I want to help my family. I don't want to miss my chance. Those are understandable desires. But a skilled manipulator can attach a dangerous investment to a reasonable dream. Stratton Oakmont grew into a large brokerage operation associated with penny stock manipulation and aggressive sales tactics. Belfort and his partner later admitted participating in a years-long scheme involving manipulation of numerous stocks, and Belfort eventually cooperated with authorities. But there was a deeper problem inside the system. Success appeared to prove that the system worked. Imagine you're a new broker. On Monday, you make 50 calls. Nobody buys. On Tuesday, the manager tells you to become more aggressive. You close one deal. Your commission arrives. You close another. More money. Soon you're making more than your parents. The office celebrates you. Your friends envy you. Your lifestyle changes. Now ask yourself a difficult question. How easy would it be to admit that the machine paying you is hurting other people? This is how bad systems protect themselves. They reward participants before forcing them to confront the consequences. The money becomes evidence. If I'm earning this much, I must be doing something right. But money proves only that a system is profitable. It does not prove that it is honest. That's an important difference. A casino can be profitable. A scam can be profitable. A predatory loan can be profitable. Profitability and morality are not synonyms. And for a while, Stratton Oakmont looked enormously successful. The image was part of the machine. Expensive clothes. Luxury. Confidence. Status. Because if someone looks rich, people assume they understand money. That's one of the most expensive assumptions an investor can make. A rented sports car doesn't prove investment skill. A luxury watch doesn't prove financial knowledge. A massive social media following doesn't prove someone can manage risk. And a confident voice definitely doesn't prove a stock is valuable. But humans love shortcuts. We see success and assume competence. We see confidence and assume knowledge. We see popularity and assume truth. Belfort's operation exploited those shortcuts at scale. Eventually, regulators and investigators closed in. Belfort pleaded guilty to securities fraud and money laundering. He cooperated with investigators, served 22 months of a 4-year sentence, and was ordered to pay $110.4 million in restitution. And this is where the story takes its strangest turn. Usually, the story of a financial criminal ends with disgrace. This one became entertainment. After prison, Belfort published his memoir The Wolf of Wall Street. The story was later adapted into The Wolf of Wall Street, starring Leonardo DiCaprio as Belfort. The film became globally famous. And something strange happened. The criminal became a cultural symbol of ambition. People shared his speeches, quoted his sales lessons, used scenes from the film as motivation. The yachts, cars, suits, and parties became visual shorthand for success. But think carefully about that. If a movie shows someone stealing $100 from a struggling person, you probably don't admire the thief. Make the theft complicated enough, add stock certificates, expensive suits, private jets, and millions of dollars. And suddenly some people call the thief a genius. Why? Because scale changes perception, and wealth can hide the victim. When money disappears from an investment account, there's no dramatic robbery scene, no broken window, no masked criminal, just numbers on a screen. But behind those numbers are years of work. $1,000 might represent months of saving. $50,000 might represent decades. A retirement account represents mornings when someone woke up tired and still went to work. Money is stored time, and financial fraud steals that time. That is the part glamorous stories often fail to show. Now here's the biggest lesson from the entire story. Jordan Belfort's greatest advantage wasn't secret information. It wasn't superior stock analysis. It wasn't some hidden mathematical formula. It was understanding the gap between what people know they should do and what they actually do when emotions take control. Most people know they should research an investment, but urgency makes them rush. Most people know extraordinary returns involve risk, but greed makes them believe they've found an exception. Most people know strangers don't normally call to make them rich, but a confident salesperson can make an ordinary opportunity feel exclusive. And this psychology didn't disappear with 1990s cold calls. The technology changed. The weakness didn't. Today, the phone call might be a viral video. The boiler room might be an online group. The salesperson might call himself a mentor, trader, coach, or expert. The pressure might sound different, but the emotional buttons are often the same. Act now. Don't miss out. Everyone is making money. This is your last chance. The system doesn't want you to know this. Whenever you hear those ideas, ask a better question. Not, how much can I make? Ask, how exactly does this investment create value? Not, who else is buying? Ask, what happens if the excitement disappears? Not, how rich is the person selling this? Ask, how does that person get paid? That last question is powerful, because incentives reveal what appearances hide. If someone earns money only when you buy, that matters. If an influencer owns an asset before promoting it, that matters. If a salesperson receives a massive commission for one product, but not another, that matters. Follow the incentives. They often tell you the real story. And perhaps that's why the Wolf of Wall Street story remains fascinating. It's easy to believe it is about one unusually greedy man. But that explanation is too comfortable. The story is also about the customers who wanted impossible returns. The employees who ignored obvious warning signs because the checks kept arriving. The culture that confused wealth with intelligence. And the audience that later turned a financial criminal into a symbol of ambition. The real lesson isn't that every salesperson is dishonest. It isn't that every penny stock is fraudulent. And it certainly isn't that investing is a scam. The lesson is simpler. Never outsource your judgment to someone else's confidence. A person can sound certain and still be wrong. A crowd can be excited and still lose money. A rising price can create the illusion of safety moments before a collapse. And someone can become rich from a financial product without the people buying it becoming rich. Before you invest, slow the story down. Remove the luxury car. Remove the countdown timer. Remove the screenshots of profits. Remove the confident voice. Then look at what's left. What does the business actually do? How does it make money? What are the risks? Who benefits if you buy? And can you explain the investment in simple language? If you can't answer those questions, you don't need more excitement. You need more information. Because the most dangerous financial scams don't begin with someone asking you to lose money. They begin with someone promising that you can't lose. And by the time people discover the difference, the salesman may already be gone. If this changed the way you think about money and investing, subscribe. The next financial mistake you avoid could be worth more than the next investment you make.